Hi, my name's Amelia and today I'm going to the Maldives and I'm going to take you with me. I've wanted to travel to the Maldives for years and I was so excited to finally get a chance to go. There are so many different islands and resorts, so make sure you pick the right one for you. We've just arrived in Malé, which is the capital city. It's been really busy and just coming straight off the plane, the humidity has hit me straight away. It actually feels really nice. It's like 28 degrees. We flew with British Airways. If you fly with British Airways, it's around 9-10 hours on a plane, which actually isn't too bad. Because we booked a package with BA, you also get transfers included. So at the moment, we're just waiting for the boat to take us to our island, and it's around 30 minutes on a speedboat. Most people travel to their island either by boat or seaplane. After around 9 hours getting to Malé by plane, I'm really glad I didn't have to get on another one. So we're about to get the boat. I'm actually looking at the boat. It's rocking up and down really heavily. So I'm hoping once it gets started and the motor goes, it's actually not going to be too bad. Because there were so few of us going to the island, they sent a smaller boat, and it was so hard to film this because it was just so bumpy, but it was definitely an experience. When you arrive, someone will pick you up in a little car and take you to your hotel. They will explain the island to you and tell you where to go, where to eat, and then they take you over this bridge which just has beautiful views on both sides. We've just checked in and as you can see the view. No, you can't. Oh, you can. And then they've just gifted us some flip-flops, which is really nice. And then now we're going to go to our room. So we've just checked in and I'm really glad that I didn't bring any flip-flops because I was supposed to buy some at the airport and actually ended up running out of time. But luckily I didn't, because when you check in, they will allow you to pick one free item from their rock shop, which is like their hard rock merchandise store. And they basically allow you to pick some flip-flops. So, and you can pick them in whatever color you want. So I got these, which are green flip-flops, and they are 100% recyclable, which is really nice. So I'm actually just going to show you now what the room looks like. Before we start, I just want to apologise for my shaky camera work. I forgot to put my stabilisation on. Also didn't realise I was zoomed in, so sorry about that. But as you can see, when you enter the room, you're taken straight into the bathroom, and it is pretty big. There is enough space. There's also a separate cubicle, and this just contains your toilet and some blue ambient lighting. There's also a lot of storage space. There are these two huge wardrobes either side, and in one of the wardrobes you also get a safe to store your valuables. Moving on, there is a separate cubicle just for the shower, and that has a waterfall head, and they also provide you with some shampoo and some shower gel and just some bits and bobs. There's also a bath. I didn't actually think I was ever going to use this, and then I ended up using it more than the shower, and it has a beautiful view as well. They also provide you with some robes and some slippers, and then there is this dual sink vanity unit, and there's also a hairdryer and something else. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but they also give you little toiletries, so like a little mini Gillette, which is cute. And now I will show you the room. Oh, they've written this really cute message that says, "Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Come inside, come inside." The room had some nice paintings, which I think were local artists. There's also like a fold-out sofa bed, a little chair. There's also a mini bar under the TV as well. and they left this little cute welcome message on the bed. One thing that I really liked was the embroidery on the pillows, which were just little tiny guitars. So I'm just going to show you outside. We booked an overwater villa, so we didn't book the room with a pool. However, I don't really regret it because take a look at these views. Look how blue and clear that water is. And in the distance you can even see the bridge that we drove across to get to the island. We had this really cool netting area that we could chill out on. If you have a pool, you're likely to be further up, and the views are kind of the same, but some are unobstructed. We also got 2 sunbeds, which we loved because we saw some people had bean bags, but we were actually really glad that we got the sunbeds. And as you can see, there are steps and you have direct access to the sea, which is great. And then there's also a little tiny shower so you can wash the sand off. One thing I will say though is that we did have some ants in the room, but that's kind of to be expected because you're on an island. So I'm going to say something about the boat ride that we took here. It takes around 10-15 minutes. I think on the website or somewhere I read it said it takes half an hour. It really doesn't. It's actually quite quick. The one thing I will say is I'm not great with boats, but I was fine with it. However, I think if I had been feeling nauseous before I got on the boat, it might have made me sick. There are moments when the boat will just almost jump you up and down. So I would just keep that in mind. But otherwise, I don't think there's anything really to worry about because it's over with so quickly. And also by the time they get to halfway point, it's actually quite smooth. It's not too bad. So we've just dumped our bags and stuff, haven't really unpacked, but we're kind of hungry. So we're gonna go get some lunch, and also I think we have to pick up our bikes first. So everyone gets assigned bikes when you arrive, and you get to cycle everywhere. So let's go find ours. So the bikes are numbered according to what room you're staying in, and I will say that having bikes is probably one of the best parts of the holiday. There aren't really any cars on the island, so everyone either gets around by cart or walking or just by cycling. The bikes do come with this locking system, and you have to lock your bike every single time you park it up. It was a bit tricky to get used to, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. Also, I'm just over 5 foot and I was so worried I wouldn't touch the floor, but I just about did. Do you have trouble going slowly as well?
Yeah, you can't cycle slowly, you have to get momentum.
I eventually got the hang of it, but I will say it's much harder to cycle on these bikes than a normal bike, and I don't really know why. But we eventually managed to find the restaurant Sessions and get some food. There was always a board outside Sessions every day so you could see the activities that were taking place. Sessions is one of the main restaurants that people tend to eat at. It was really clean, we never had a problem trying to get a reservation, and the food was pretty good too. However, there are lots of other restaurants in the islands, and make sure you try them. Elephant and Butterfly was probably my favourite restaurant, and we ended up eating here every single day for lunch, simply because the views were so good and it was directly on the beach, and they also served acai bowls, which are my absolute favourite.
Did you order?
I ordered an acai bowl. I've wanted to try acai for so long, and I've been getting the frozen stuff ordered online, and I'm so excited to try this because you can't actually get this fresh in the UK, and it's supposed to be really good for you. Acai is so good for you and contains so many antioxidants, and it tasted like ice cream here, so we ended up coming back every single day. There are so many restaurants on the island, and it's such a great opportunity for you to take your bike out and cycle to them. But make sure you also stop off along the way and appreciate the views. If you didn't want to cycle to the restaurants, you can call little carts or you can just walk. However, cycling over this bridge every day was probably one of my favourite things to do. We ended up eating at the Hard Rock Cafe, probably more than we should, but there's a little store just before you go into the restaurant that sells things like hoodies and hats and even bikinis. And just like any other Hard Rock cafe, they also had lots of memorabilia on the walls. They also had live music nights, and I think they even had a karaoke night. The food and the service were fantastic, and I can't fault it. However, I messed up and accidentally ordered a giant brownie that was as big as my head, and my punishment was I had to eat the whole thing. I made a huge mistake. Oh my god, there's 2 brownies! We also ate at Terra and Mar, which is part of the neighbouring Sai Lagoon complex. The restaurant was nice, but it probably wasn't one of my favourites. And just a tip, when you receive the bill at the end of the meal, they will provide you with 2 receipts. Just make sure you don't add gratuity to both, or you will be charged twice. There's also a little mini mart on the island that sells just basic things like crisps and chocolate and snacks and toiletries, and it's a really short cycle away from the hotel. Don't worry about cycling over the bridge at night because they do light it up, so it does look very pretty. Look at this bird. I think he's a stork or a heron. It's like he's looking longingly out into the... well. Can we name the bird? So I just took a video of a stork on the other end of the bridge, and I come here and there is this stork, and I have seen the same stork here every single night that I have cycled the bridge, and there's also been one on the other side. So at this point I am genuinely convinced that they are like guardians of the bridge or something ridiculous, because always here there's always one on this end and one on the other end. If anyone knows why, please let me know, because I just feel really sad. It's almost like they're trying to get to each other. I can't make it over the bridge, and it's making me really sad.
Putting on your sea shoes.
Yeah, I read online that apparently it's quite corally down at the bottom.
There is a lot of coral down there.
Oh, it's so cold. Will the fish come up to me? There's a fish next to me.
Yeah, they're quite comfortable with you.
Will they like peck me?
No.
One of the best pieces of advice I can give is to bring sea shoes. Because there's so many sharp bits of coral, you'll be really glad that you did. Once you get used to it, the water is actually very warm, but the water is also quite shallow, and it only came up to around my waist. What if there's like a shark coming?
Yeah, that's possible.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We saw so many fish near the steps to our villa, we didn't actually think we were going to see any. The hotel also provides free snorkeling equipment, so make sure you take advantage. One of the saddest things we saw is just how much litter is dumped into the ocean. And we've just spotted some toothpaste under our hut. If you see any litter, please do pick it up because it's just really harmful to the environment. If you get some time, head over to the neighbouring Sai Lagoon property. And even if you're staying at the Hard Rock, you can still head over there and use some of their amenities and just look at the views from this side. We loved the beach, and actually we preferred snorkeling on this side because we saw so many more fish. Look at how beautiful the sunset is from the Sai Lagoon side. But that isn't to say the sunsets from the Hard Rock side aren't equally just as beautiful. Hi guys! So today we are a bit peely. So today we are gonna go to the Watersports Centre and we're going to pick up some snorkeling gear and also just hire one of their glass kayaking boats. There is also a water sports and dive centre where you can hire all sorts of water equipment like kayaks, and they also do excursions like diving, snorkeling, and I think you can even go see the dolphins. We ended up hiring a glass kayak, and as I found out, it was actually a lot more effort than I thought it was going to be. And sign up for... How did the Vikings row so much? You know those ships like... It was actually a really nice experience, and because the bottom of the kayak is see-through, you can actually see a lot of the fish below, and we actually even managed to spot a stingray. There is also a gym for all you gym buffs, and you can also ask for a yoga mat should you want to do some in your room. Just gonna pop to the rock spa. Apparently you can get yoga mats from there. Got my yoga mat. I'm coming back with a yoga mat and a little flower. Plumera or frangipani, these are some of my favourite flowers, and you only really find them in countries with hot climate, but they are all over the island. One of the other perks of staying at the Hard Rock is that you can also get a guitar delivered to your room, and they will also give you an amp. There is so much to do on this beautiful island, you will definitely not get bored. For those of you wondering, the return journey back was absolutely fine, and this time they sent a much larger boat because so many of us were returning to the airport, and it was so much smoother. Whether you choose to come to this island or pick another island, the Maldives is such a magical place, you will have an absolutely amazing time. Until next time guys, enjoy the Maldives.